sometimes even the people close to you get stuff wrong. You gotta, I guess, try to guide them toward, maybe a greater understanding, or, really taking their perspective, at the same time, for real.
This is Champagne is Also a Band podcast. One songwriter, one song. I'm Sven, your host for a journey into the music of Champaign-Urbana. Recorded in the Blue Box studio with a songwriter from the Champaign-Urbana music scene, past or present. Champagne is Also a Band podcast is proud to be a part of the Champagne Showers Podcast Network. Welcome to Champagne is Also a Band podcast. So today I have Sunny Ture, and you may know Sunny Ture from the Pusho Soul hip-hop collective, and he collabs with Kelvah and Kivon Redd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sunny, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for the welcome. And just a note on the collabs. Me and Kelvah haven't collabed actually in a while. But we do have that project, Taxi to the Sun, which is like, a classic album that probably came out 5 or 6 years ago. And that's why I put Kelvah on there as far as like the collabs that I've taken part in. But yeah, Pusho Collective, that's who I collab with. And Kivon Redd, he's actually part of Pusho Collective. But me and him have some projects as duos, like just me and him in the past before Pusho formed. And we got another one coming out sometime this year called Skate. That's dropping later this year, though, where it's just me and Kivon. So, yeah.
Is that an album or a single?
It's going to be an album. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we recorded about, 7-8 songs of that one weekend about a year ago. So we've been sitting on that for about a year. Been recorded for about a year, but we just ain't put it out yet. We still, I guess brainstorming some finishing touches.
Today we're going to be talking about your song Vacation off of the album Hotline. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, let's listen to the song.
I got back home, bro. Yeah, nigga, what up? She bad, bro. This nigga always capping. Let me tell you, bro. Nigga, what? Yeah. I knew this bad thing, feeling for that ass. Don't forget it when you have things. What she told me right before I froze, I left her gas bang. Now she wantin' more, dick ain't free, and yes, I'm taxing. Yeah. Know your worth, but still prove it while you roam the earth. Will she do it for Curtis is what I'm asking. Is this really passion of Christ or just the passing? She learned every line that I crossed, I wasn't masking. I took every loss like a boss, but what's the cost? How she gon' treat me like villain? I wasn't laughing. The way a young nigga feel peace just when he rapping. And when it come to rocking the mic, she wasn't lacking. Hold up, but that's too much information. Think the phone's at home, we on vacation. Can't share too much information. Leave the phones at home, we on vacation. Yeah, but that's too much information. So when it's on, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, can't share too much information. She left her phone up, but I'm like this vacation. She told me chill out, get too far ahead of myself, I got my will out. Another nigga tried to engage, might take the kill route. My focus mine like a grenade, might take the pin out. Yeah. Write something with words that she prefers. A spark with every touch, we tipping the temperatures. She asked me how I'm flipping words, I guess it just occurs. I'm capping just to master this rapping, spent many years. I find it funny how niggas assuming just because they when not walking, they down with the movement. Sonny, don't do too much talking, let's I keep recording. Cause that's how I keep my mind up the lesser importance. Thinking about them thoughts that I'm traveling home to once this touring is done. She text me, babe, I warned you. I told her, fret not, let's roll another L. 30 nights to go, my niggas hoping I fail. What? But that's too much information. Leave the phones at home, we on vacation. Yeah, can't share too much information. Leave the phones at home, we on vacation. Yeah, but that's too much information. So when it's on, that's what I'm thinking. Can't share too much information. She left her phone at home like this vacation. Yesterday I was your lover. What you mean I be sharing too much of this? Niggas don't know what I'm talking about.
Welcome back. So, Sunny, my first and favorite question to always ask is, what came first? Was it the music or was it the lyrics?
It was definitely the music. I got a pack of beats from Solomon. That's how we was working on that project. He would just email me beats. It was for sure the music that came first that inspired the lyrics. Maybe there might have been some thought process behind like the story or the piece of the story I was trying to tell with that track, but none of the lyrics came before the music.
So let's just describe kind of your introduction to this music. So you had the packet of beats. Did this just jump out at you and you started hearing like a line in there, or did you? I'm always curious about like, where is that spark? Where is that thing that comes out at one point that you just? I don't know. You're smiling, so I'm guessing there's something.
I think, of course, is hearing the beat and just getting lost in it a little bit. But I guess getting lost to where the words just start coming, and you find that first line that kind of sets the table, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, when I hear a dope beat and that I'm trying to write to, it's kind of like, I always tell the homies that, doing music, it's about trying to catch lightning in a bottle, you know what I'm saying? I think them first words just came to me. I knew this bad thing, feeding for that ass, don't forget it when you have things. And then, that worked, like for me, it's the sonics almost that come first almost, you know what I'm saying? So that worked sonically. So I was like, okay, how can I make a song around those lyrics that sound dope sonically, and that's kind of the, the tale or the piece of the story of the whole album that, I kind of dipped into.
I think it's interesting that the first line of the first verse is your starting point, because I know sometimes people are like, oh, I get the hook, and then kind of come back to another part.
Sometimes it is the hook. Sometimes when I'm writing, it's the hook that comes first, you know what I'm saying? It's all about, what sparks off for real. So, yeah.
I look through these lyrics and I listen to the song, and you mention, that set off the tone of the idea of the story behind it. And you'd think that maybe that this song would stay on that topic, but it does kind of turn into more of like your own reflection and how you fit within. I mean, this is me, of course, interpreting your words, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but how people interpret and interact with you and like your own worth as a person, and then using your own words as a way to prove your worth. So I don't know if I'm getting the point, but was there like a general idea in this song?
I think the general idea is, to touch on themes of love and relationship, because that's actually the song. This is the second song on the project, and the first song kind of leads with some of the same themes of exploring self, you know what I'm saying, but also kind of playing with themes of love and relationships, and that kind of plays into the overall like story of the album. Hotline is an album like on the abstract sense about a man that's on the run for killing Uncle Sam. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like any good story has a love story within it, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where it starts off. The main character, or me in the story, is reflecting on love and, his love interest, while also, dealing with his own stuff. I think the whole album got songs that's kind of hard to nail down at like one theme or one subject.
I have this thing where I will call something a hook when it's not really the hook, but to me, it sounds like but that's too much information is kind of the hook, okay? Mm-hmm. It's always interesting when, to me, a song seems like it's going one direction with the first verse, but then the hook kind of brings it back. Like, is there any way that you could, I kind of feel like that's can we just kind of put this everything aside and just go on vacation, right? So, or at least take a break from those things. Mm-hmm. And then I think that set that tone for the second verse, where it's just like, she told me chill out, not to say something too early, but there's this really cool play that you have in there at the end of that. My focused mind, like grenade, I might take the pen out, and the way that you say it, if you were just listening, you're not sure if you're saying the pin out or the pen out. Mm-hmm. And there's just that, I don't know, I think it's a really cool play between like, the pen is mightier than the sword kind of concept versus actually, arming a grenade, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I don't know, was that something that like, I'm kind of curious what brought those lyrics around?
That's a great question. That's one of the doper double entendres on this album. You know what I'm saying? My focus mind like a grenade, might take the pin out. And then there's like a pause, you know what I'm saying? Like you waiting for it to tick and boom. You get close to a woman, you know what I'm saying? At least from my stance, you know what I'm saying? In a different way than you will your homies, you know what I'm saying? So they're going to see different sides of you or on a deeper level because they're spending so much time with you or talking with you on a daily basis where you and your homies might not actually get that. So I think that line was just really commentary, you know what I'm saying? Like what definitely, you know what I'm saying, I guess the love interest might pick up on. Like my focus mind like a grenade might take the pen out. Like I might deal with, you know, certain things that in this society might make you want to blow up. My solution to that is to try to write music, you know what I'm saying, to be like therapy. On your other point too, just about the difference between the hook and the verses. I mean, the hook is definitely that catchy part of the song, you know, but it also what's important with the hook is the voice in the background. I don't know, like in my music, I play with perspective a lot, you know what I'm saying? So, or even settings a lot where I don't always signal a change of perspective. I don't always signal a change in setting. The first hook is the same hook as the second hook, but the first hook, the voice in the background is the woman, is the love interest saying, don't be putting me in your music, don't be talking about me, they're gonna know you talking about me, da-da-da-da-da. After the second verse, you know what I'm saying, the second verse changes settings to like being on tour with my homies, you know what I'm saying, with Pusho even, you know, in an abstract sense, right? The homies is saying at the end, you know, here's the last little stanza of the second verse. Think about them thighs that I'm traveling home to once this touring is done. She texted me, babe, I warned you. I told her, fret not, let's roll another L. 30 nights to go, my niggas hoping I fail. Even before that, I'm talking about being on tour and wanting to travel home and da-da-da-da. So the second hook, that high-pitched voice in the background is actually the homie saying, oh, he's going to fail as far as like staying faithful. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to, like, who we got coming to the studio, Jessica, da-da-da-da-da. It's hard to nail down, but, you know, the music I like making, I'm not always going to signpost all the changes and all the different shifts I want, you know. I got different influences or inspirations for that too, you know, we can talk about.
Just this whole process of talking with artists about how they create their work, it's like, obviously I am entitled to my own interpretation, but it's also very, it's cool to be kind of wrong too. Like I wasn't even thinking about, you know, that sometimes when you're in a relationship and when your art is talking about your life, that sometimes you have to bring in that aspect of what all that means. Like, and especially I think, where is that line, shoot, where you're like, when you're rapping, that's where you feel, I don't know, where something about like,
I said, where a young nigga feel peace is when he rapping.
Yeah. Like that's your solace. That's your spot to like find peace and work out some of the things that you may be dealing with. But if you're going to be rapping about the things that you're working out, you're going to end up talking about the person that you are in a relationship with. So, and somehow that never, I don't know, that didn't occur to me that was, you know, part of the topic there. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that whole stanza, you know what I'm saying? Like I be breaking my verses up in 4-bar increments. So that stanza, I took every loss like a boss, but what's the cost? How she gonna treat me like villain? I wasn't laughing. A wavy young nigga feel peace just when he rapping, and when it come to rocking the mic, she wasn't lacking. It's like I really like that second line right there. How she gonna treat me like villain? I wasn't laughing. Yeah, I think like the maniacal laughter of a villain, like a cartoon type of deal. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, and that kind of just is commentary on, you know, sometimes even the people close to you get stuff wrong. You gotta, I guess, try to guide them toward, you know, maybe a greater understanding, or, you know what I'm saying, really taking their perspective, you know, at the same time, for real.
Going back to my focused mind like grenade, might take the pin out. The first bar of the next section is like, and write some words that she prefers.
Yeah, write something with words that she prefers. Yeah.
It's cool when it's like, oh yeah, that's where that little piece of the puzzle that I somehow overlooked when interpreting or looking at the words. My focused mind like a grenade might take my pen out is one of my favorite lines, but this is also with my old interpretation, so forgive me for that, but there's something about the third and fourth bars on I think that's the last verse, where Sunny, don't do too much talking unless the Aki is recording, because that's how keep my mind off the lesser importance. I don't know how much you think about your own mortality, but the way that I thought about it, and I know that this doesn't fit with what we had talked about before, but the way that I was thinking about it is this: as you think about what you pass on to other people, there becomes this worry in the creative process of like, I don't want to miss sharing a concept. I don't want to miss, I don't know, like you're afraid of some kind of creative idea dropping unless something has recorded it or saved it. And that weird sense of like trying to preserve every little thing that comes out of your brain. And I think sometimes that impedes us from actually getting something down because we want to make sure that we're always capturing it rather than just capturing it when you can capture it. That's what I was thinking about, and I'm kind of curious what your interpretation of it was. I know now in the new context, I feel like that's missing the point. But
let me say this too. I'm really appreciating this too, to be able to talk and like get other people's interpretations, because I'm trying to set a table for people to be able to make their own interpretation, while I'm expressing myself. So I definitely appreciate it. But let me just read that part real quick. I find it funny how niggas assuming just because they went out walking, they down with the movement. Sunny, don't do too much talking unless I keep recording, because that's how I keep my mind off the lesser importance. I guess that was just me kind of being aggravated with, a lot of the mainstream conversation about a lot of things, and just where I feel like maybe 6-7 years ago, I was much more focused on being part of that conversation or adding to that conversation, I think a little bit more focused on just expressing myself in ways that are meaningful to me and like letting that be, like you said, a solace, So, I mean, when I said I don't do too much talking unless I keep recording, I key is what I call several people in my life. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It's like a word that means brother amongst us. You know what I'm saying? And I actually, who I do the podcast with, my homie Gerard, he goes by I key to G. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm talking to Gerard or I key to G, we both call the person that you saw walking out my studio, Twig. For us, he's both our Aki, you know what I'm saying? So that's just a word that we throw around amongst each other a lot. So when I said, I don't do too much talking unless Aki record, I'm talking about like in the studio, either for music or the podcast, I'm not doing too much talking outside of that, as far as like trying, I guess it's like maybe like a social media thing too, where I'm not going to try too hard to express myself or even think that I can express myself fully on social media. Like it's not possible. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a format that can even contain me. I mean, even the line before that, just because they went out walking, they down with the movement. I mean, there's a whole lot of people that just went out walking last year. And I mean, even before that, they go out walking for a protest or something and they think that, they're down with the movement. And, you can take that how you want to. So I think that line was just a commentary on all of that, and it's all to keep my mind off the lesser importance, trying to put things in perspective. As far as, what's really important, of course, my relationship with my friends and my family, is very important. My relationship with myself is very important. It can be a dead-end game trying to find the perfect type of expression or the perfect, like, abstract community to reflect yourself in if you're not comfortable with yourself. So. And I do think that does bring up a very good point is like, let's just say, when there was a march here in Champaign, I think that was in June, how many people that actually took part in that march? And I'm, I feel like I'm calling myself out just as well, is like, how much are you bringing that into your day-to-day lives? Like, how many of you are actually continuing to push for equality and Black Lives Matter? And, I put it like this, more and more stuff is getting commodified, is becoming for sale in the society. It's not lost on me, the fact that last year we had the biggest public protests in U.S. history, but they've also been the most abstract, the most disconnected from actual demands. Such protests that are harder to nail down with actual, points that people can actually follow logically. Of course, that opens the door for more people to come in and perform. That's also been part of what made me retract from more of the movement. I guess on the political side, where I was, amongst the most involved you'll find out here, 5 or 6 years ago, or even more recently than that. Now I'll be treating Pusho Soul like it's the most revolutionary group I've ever been part of. Mm-hmm. As far as what we do. Not saying that, all politics is bad or all politics are performative. That's an issue that we really got to sober up to, That's not saying I'm perfect or I'm not guilty of some of them things, but this music, I guess, is just part of my reflection on them.
I greatly appreciate that you're finding the voice that you feel is contributing the best through this. And also, I mean, being able to, anyway, no, I just feel like anything I say at this point will just be not the best. Like, anyway, you said it better. I shouldn't try to add to it. So I apologize for that.
No, you're all good.
What's your favorite part of this piece?
That's a good question. That's actually a great question. My favorite part of it, besides the beat, shout out to Solomon Grunge, I think I just like how just a raw expression, honest expression, I felt this song gives people so many like different windows that they can peek into, me as an artist, they can peek through multiple different windows with this track. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one window you can peek through as far as like the beat, the hook being catchy, how it is, but also like the abstract, like conceptualization of not just the song, but the project. For me, the whole project is one that you really got to tackle as a whole together, and really try to follow the story. The same love interest within this story later on in the album, he betrays the protagonist, and sets him up, to get killed. And that's set up from the beginning to the end of the project. That love story, of course, is just like part of that larger story about being on the run from killing Uncle Sam. And, I just say like just how it's free. You know what I'm saying? It's free.
Right.
That's my favorite part about it. It's free.
I love that answer. Is there like a favorite part in this song, like a favorite verse or favorite beat or favorite part that happens in the song?
I would say it's right after that. It's that stanza right after that. Focus mine like a grenade. I take the pen out, and then it's this part. And write something with words that she prefers. A spark with every touch. We tipping the temperatures. She asked me how I'm flipping words. I guess it just occurs. I'm capping. Just a master this rapping. Spent many years. So I think it's that part right there because of the wordplay, but also like the content of what I'm saying. A woman asking or my love interest asking. How you get so good at rapping, how you get so good at flipping words. My first answer is, I guess it just occurs. I guess it's natural. But then the honest answer is, I'm capping. Just to master this rapping, I spent many years. Like I spent a long time with music. It's kind of like what Michael Jackson said, or at least he's quoted as saying this. That you got to make, 10 or 1,000. He says like 100 bad songs. He says something like that before you make your first good one. And I definitely have put that time in as far as, trying to, for myself as an artist, and it's something I'm still doing, but, weeding out the bad, confronting, the lackluster or the average or the mediocre or the unfree kind of expressions, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It takes experience, for sure. Yeah, just try to listen to the album straight through. Pay attention to the little clips and skits I'm putting in there. Because I really do think, even though it dropped before Outside, my most recent project, I feel like it's more of a cohesive statement. And I think that's also one of the added benefits of working with one producer for the project. Like sonically, it has that glue. Yeah, I would say, if you listen and take some time out and just experience it for yourself, and I'll be interested to hear what, other people also like how they interpret it as well.
Champaign is Also a Band podcast is proud to support Exile on Main Street. Exile on Main Street, located in the old train station building at 100 North Chestnut Street in downtown Champaign, has been helping to build record collections since 2004. Carrying a wide array of new and used LPs, CDs, and video games. Exile on Main Street has something for just about any music enthusiast and old school gaming devotee. Exile also hosts regular free live music shows on its stage, so be sure to check out their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for the up-to-date details on the next upcoming event. Open 7 days a week, they can be reached by phone at 217-398-MAIN. That's 217-398-6246. Welcome back. So, Sunny, I'm just curious, in Champaign-Urbana, do you have any favorite music venues, past or present?
That's a great question. I haven't been to as many shows out here as I would like to. A lot of the shows I've been to are ones that I helped set up, at the IMC. So shout out to the Independent Media Center out here that always made a space for hip hop Besides that, I've been to a few shows at Canopy Club that have been live. But nah, I ain't really been invited to no house venues like that. You know, I really want to get more shows out here. But, you know, I think some of that is on me as well. Just not putting myself out there as much, or just being like, I guess, okay, just being kind of like, I guess, like segmenting it off on the side, you know. But, you know, now I'm definitely, you know, trying to get more out there and see more shows. So anybody listening, send me some dope shows that's coming up in the area. You know what I'm saying? Awesome. Put me on some of them dope shows too.
Did you have a favorite show that you've seen in Champaign-Urbana?
I'll probably say the best one I've seen, besides some of the stuff that I was involved in at the IMC, and I performed at the IMC before too. But I would say Canopy Club, I saw the internet, you know, Sid the Kid from Odd Future and everything. So I would definitely say the internet at Canopy Club. Who else did I see? I would say probably Mother Nature at IMC as well. I saw them over there.
I miss seeing Mother Nature kind of on a regular basis before they moved to Chicago.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, I still think one of the better moments that I've experienced is seeing Mother Nature open up for Run the Jewels for Pygmalion. I think that was, I want to say 2014, but that seems way too long ago. But okay, side note, it was 2015 because I feel like they held their own. Like it didn't feel like a whoa, oh my gosh, Run the Jewels is here all of a sudden. It was like the energy was already up, and then it just kept going.
Oh yeah, I definitely Mother Nature next to Run the Jewels. If they was going on at the same time, I'll go see Mother Nature.
Off the air, we kind of talked about how you did record Hotline during the pandemic with Solomon Grunge, but just recently, July 26th, you dropped Outside, which you said was, correct me if I'm wrong, a collection of songs that you had been holding on to before the pandemic. What made you decide to release Outside finally, or to figure out how to put those all together?
It's a lot of factors that made me sit on that music. You know, some of it was just, you know, wanting to get the sound right and just like having to develop my skills as an engineer, as a mixing engineer and mastering like audio engineer, knowing for a while that, you know, it could always sound better. It could sound better. But, you know, wanting to do it myself, that's part of it. I think also just, you know, it's such a different environment nowadays from when I started making music. You know, I started making music when I was 14. I'm 30 now. So as far as like dropping music in a digital environment, that's, you know, I guess focused on social media and stuff like that and social media promotion, I was just sitting on it and just sharing it with my friends, you know, trying to figure out, I guess during that time, you know, how I could release it, you know, and a lot of them songs, I didn't have the project like before the pandemic, like already like track listed out and everything, you know. And some of those songs, I say about, I think there's 14 songs on there. I would say maybe 5 of them songs out of that 14 might have been made during the pandemic. But the majority of it was before the pandemic, you know, years before the pandemic. I know one of them songs I think is from like 2016, you know, 2015, you know. So I've been sitting on some of that music a while, trying to get it in a project format that makes sense for me, because I got a lot of music I'm sitting on. I probably got my next 3, 4, 5 projects already recorded, you know, waiting to be mixed and mastered or, you know, promoted the right way to be put out. Yeah, I make a lot of music. Yeah, Outside was just kind of birthed from, you know, a long creative process.
What in particular made you say, this is the time to finally release all of this?
I don't know if there was anything like external that really like was that sign for me to say this is the time to release it. I knew I wanted to release a different sounding project after Hotline, which was much more like boom bap and like soul and like slower grooves, you know, where Outside is a lot more 808s, a lot more modern sounding. It's a different sound. So I knew I wanted to get that sound out soon after Hotline, just so people could kind of maybe see that versatility next to each other, like almost completely different sounds next to each other.
Yeah.
It was like kind of during the summer, and I wanted to put like a summer sounding album out there that's a little bit more upbeat and everything.
Why did you name it Outside? I'm curious.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, just because a couple of different reasons, I guess, you know. I don't have one like nailed down or any of it really nailed down. It's just the name that spoke to me. But also, you know, we're kind of emerging, or at least that's what in the U.S., and it's a whole different story than the rest of the world, but you know, kind of emerging from the pandemic and heading outside again. And, you know, also just trying to step outside of my comfort zone as an artist, trying to put myself out there more and be heard more. My music is, in so many ways, just a statement from, you know, me, who I am, you know, to the world. Trying to, you know, tug on some of them currents or some of them threads that's out there. And outside is definitely one of them currents that's out there right now, you know what I'm saying? From people feeling like they stuck inside and wanting to get outside the mainstream, outside my mind, all them type of things, you know. I just felt like outside pretty much spoke to, you know, just me as an artist in 2021.
I'm curious, do you have a name for the studio that we're sitting in right now? Or
Nah, it's funny as hell that you say that, bro. Because I freestyled it when I told you no, I don't know if I said it to you. I think I was telling somebody that the interview that we were going to have is going to be here, and what I told them was it's going to be at the Temple on Mattis. And sometimes we call it the dojo, sometimes we call it the lab, but nah, I think the Temple on Mattis might stick for right now. That's nice. What we're calling it right now, the Temple on Mattis.
It's your sanctuary, right?
For sure.
You know,
and it's not just mine too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a handful of artists. You know what I'm saying, that also, you know, treat this place like a sanctuary, even if they're not here all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like all the artists in Pusho, and even, you know, some not in Pusho, you know, that's here. They treat the space like that. You know, like it's a sanctuary. You know, away from outside.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about like the Pusho Collective.
Okay.
Like where did that get started? And tell us a little bit about what that is.
All right, bet. So Pusho Collective currently is myself, Kivon Redd, Mari the Fifth, Zachariah TBM, my homie YAN Trey, and Zen the Rapper, my homie Dante. And also Twick G, who you kind of saw in passing today. But it came about just the need to move collectively and really the urge to move collectively, you know, just as Black men. And also just, you know, it came about from a song that Mari had did. You know, I met Mari the Fifth, you know, here at the University of Illinois, and Trey, I met them around the same time. They started coming to the studio around the same time. And we were just in the studio so much together, working on so much music together. You know, the need for some type of collective, you know, vehicle was coming up. I've been part of similar type collectives before, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of based around the studio, because this studio has been in the process of being built up to where it is for the past 15 years.
It never stops.
Nah, it never stops. The first collective that we had was actually called Lunar instead of, you know, Lunar, but we called it like Lunar, change up the pronunciation. And then S13P was the next like iteration, S13P, which is like, it met Samurai, the 13th pyramid. Those kind of fell away, especially as people are moving. But then like once I was here, well, I said me and Kivon, he's been part of each one of those collectives. And I know Kivon from high school. You know, we grew up in Evansville together. But yeah, once I was here, you know, met Trey and Mari, it felt like home being in the studio with them. The need for another collective kind of came up, and we just settled on the name Pusho Soul. You know, it just kind of describes what we own perfectly.
How did the name Pusho Soul come about?
It was the name of a song that Mari did. You know what I'm saying? Like
so that's, yeah.
Yeah, he just happened to name a song Pusho Soul. Like we pushing soul. Like we can, like we can, some of us you know, push a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? At the core of it, what we want to do is push soul. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a statement we want to make in this world, you know. We feel like we coming at the perfect time, you know what I'm saying? Even without maybe the shine or the prestige or the clout that some artists got, you know what I'm saying? Like as far as our sound, we feel like it's a needed one, you know, and it's one that people is more and more ready for. People want to have soul pushed to them. They're hungry for it. The
Pusho Soul Collective, it's kind of an open collaboration to each other to develop and create amazing works, right? I mean, I'm just curious. Like, I wanted to know if there were any other facets besides music that this collective is pushing for. See how I did that?
Yeah.
But sorry, that was probably the dorkiest thing I've ever done.
No.
But anyway,
that's what we be doing, so it's all good. I mean, to answer your question, I put it like this: it came at the perfect time. Pusho came at the perfect time because it was about maybe 4 or 5 weeks before everything closed down for the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Is when we started. You know, me, Mari, and Trey started really locking in on Pusho. And then like one of the things that we started doing was every single week, and we've been doing this for, you know, almost 2 years now, you know, year and a half now. every single week we meet, you know what I'm saying, online, like through Zoom or whatever, video conference, like everybody in Pusho Soul. And we haven't missed no week yet. So you ask, what does it do beyond music? It really is a solace for us, you know what I'm saying? Like, because where people might be at, especially what we've been going through, it's hard to reach out. It's hard to form them real social connections that we need as humans, you know what I'm saying? Right. Just to, you know, get along and be along, you know? I mean, having a place every week, I mean, it's something that each one of us look forward to as far as like coming together and meeting and talking. You know, we might talk 4 or 5 hours, not just about music, but just about our lives and our view of the world, you know. It's a place of solace for the people that's involved. It's also like, on another hand, like I'm more the business end, it's like an independent label as well. You know what I'm saying? Where we're trying to also enact some type of collective, like, practice together as far as like how we're trying to do music and, you know, own our own music, stay away from the, you know, the bigger labels that are more extractive, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's really like it's all those things.
Yeah. It's definitely been very, very clear that throughout the pandemic, the way that we were all going to kind of get through this with our sanity intact was to be able to reach out and interact with people, whether we're shy people or whether we're outgoing people. We all needed to have a person or people that we could interact with and be comfortable with and safe with and supported by. That kind of leads me into my favorite second section question that I've been pondering so much over the pandemic as I look forward to getting back to the music scene and, you know, the people that make up the music scene. So I'm just curious, in your opinion, what makes a really good music scene, or what could Champaign-Urbana do to make a better music scene?
I think that is a good question. I think the music scene in Champaign is pretty good, you know, as far as like the different opportunities that's available, different venues that's there. Yeah, that was kind of a hard one for me to answer just because like I don't want to say hesitant, I guess just consumed with other stuff. So like having to go through some, you know, important like personal changes to really feel comfortable putting myself out there and just like, and being out there. So, you know, it's that one's kind of hard for me to answer, you know what I'm saying? What could make it better, you know what I'm saying? Because I haven't really experienced it to a full extent yet. That's kind of speaking to like the live music scene, you know, but I agree. If this is kind of where you're heading with it, like the music scene is bigger than just the live music scene. I feel like locally I have been a heavy participant in like the underground hip hop scene, you know what I'm saying? That's here as far as the artists that I work with and how my studio has been a space for them. On the hip hop music scene here, one thing that could make it better is just, I mean, it might be cliche, but you know, more originality, you know what I'm saying? Just more people fearless to be themselves on records and really search for themselves on records, you know what I'm saying? Use music to search for yourself. You know, I think a lot of people get on a record and try to replicate something that's hot, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, you know, doing them. So, yeah. I know it's kind of cliche, but that's really all I can really say on it.
Honestly, I think that's the first time I've heard somebody say that. So I would say give yourself more credit on that, because that's a really good point. And I guess in some ways that also means that you mentioned the IMC, and the IMC is very good about being an open and inviting space for all types of music so that people can come and produce the music or create or however you want to call it, the music that they want to create, that's really in their heart, that they want to make. Creation is soul searching. So yeah, that's such a great point. Thank you.
No, I think that's real as hell, you know. And I would say like outside, for instance, when it came out and it was out there and I wasn't mixing it no more, like I wasn't tinkering with it no more, I was able to like really listen to it, you know what I'm saying? And really listen to what I was saying, because like I'd be creating songs sometimes and I don't always recall what I'll be saying, you know what I'm saying? Like I definitely don't be memorizing my lyrics, just how, you know, much music and how quick I might make it in the moment, trying to catch that lightning in the bottle. Like I was on stuff when I made Outside that I didn't really realize then, as far as like Outside has a lot of commentary on mental health. I feel like in projects like Outside, I did a lot of that soul searching and creation, you know what I'm saying? And trying to, you know, push myself to reach where I'm closer to reaching now, you know? So I just, as a person, you know, I think music can be that, it is that, you know what I'm saying? It's just poetry over a beat, you know, over, you know, a certain type of drum pattern that we just decide to call hip hop, you know.
Where do you find your inspiration? Like, who do you, I mean, granted it is you that generates these things, but who do you look to? Not emulate. Is emulate an okay word?
No, I think it is, you know, because look, I put it like this, like when a beat come on, I trust myself so much musically, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, me putting the pen to the paper or typing these or thinking about these lyrics, it's going to be me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to sound like me. I have no problem with trying to emulate other artists. And I feel like, you know, there's a difference between replication and emulation. I think that difference it reveals itself through experience, you know what I'm saying, as an artist. So when a beat come on, I might say like, how would Tupac sound on that? How would Outkast sound on that? How will MF Doom or Jay Electronica sound on that? You know what I'm saying? And I might try to get that first line out with that in mind, that emulation of these special artists in mind, to get me going, to get me like in the right, like creative spirit. Yeah, I think emulation is important. You know what I'm saying? Or if that's the right word, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think it's important. And, you know, you kind of got to be a student of the game to do that. A student of the good part of the game. You know, I guess some people are just students of those that just replicate and steal and ain't really got a whole lot of artistic type value to what they're doing. The great artists that's there, they only got that great because they was emulating, you know what I'm saying? And you know, looking at those that came before them. I definitely try to channel my inspirations through my music. Of course, I'm guarded, you know, of my own style, but I guess the stage I'm at as an artist, you know what I'm saying, I don't have to really try to make it sound like me at this point, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if I'm trying to emulate somebody, it's going to come out like me. Maybe that's not the best advice to give to somebody depending on where they at, but, you know, definitely that's where I've arrived at. I feel free to emulate and take because, like, I'm confident, supremely confident that I'm going to make it my own, you know? Well, I know one thing I do want to do in my live shows, you know what I'm saying? Like, I probably won't get there this year, but in the coming years, I want to start doing cover songs. Like during my live shows of some of my favorite artists, like my favorite songs from them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's enough cover songs in hip hop, you know, where other hip hop artists are, I guess, confident enough in themselves as an artist to, you know, cover one of their favorite artist songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to be able to get on stage and like actually spit an MF Doom song or something like that, or an Outkast song, like just as part of my set. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, why is, I mean, I was like, okay, when's the last time that I've heard anyone like cover a hip hop song? And I was, the only one I can think of is like the Great Cover Up is somebody doing, you know, I mean, that seems like, I mean, that's obviously supposed to be a cover, but yeah, I guess I don't understand why that doesn't occur more often, but
I think it's just the certain like cultural origin of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like where hip hop, you know, in so many ways was made to be that unique stamp, you know, through your voice on a beat, you know what I'm saying? And you proclaiming who you are to the world. You know, what other art form in music do you know where people tell you on the record who they are by name? But in hip hop, that's a big thing. You gonna know my name through my lyrics and through my words.
Right.
So I think it owes itself to the cultural origin of hip hop, you know, where it comes from.
Even in the midst of the current coronavirus pandemic, the Jubilee Cafe is continuing to serve packaged, home-cooked meals free to all every Monday evening, 5 to 6:30 p.m. Meals are available for pickup outside the 6th Street door to the Community United Church of Christ in Champaign, Illinois, 805 South 6th Street. Jubilee Cafe's mission remains the same. Feed hungry people by cooking healthy and delicious meals. We are open to anyone who cares to receive a meal. For information on the meal or how to volunteer, go to the Jubilee Cafe CUCC Facebook page or email us at jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org. Sunny, what is your favorite non-musical thing?
My favorite non-musical thing. That's a good one. Outside of music, I'm also a grad student at the University of Illinois, and I love the work that I do there. I'm a PhD student in history, and I study Black social movements. I think reading and teaching about Black social movements, Black, political ideologies and stuff like that, I have a profound interest in that. Besides that, I like video games. You know what I'm saying? I think that's an easy way to stay competitive. Because I guess I don't always got the access to having friends close by, find competitive ways to be with them. I'm a very competitive person. I like video games too. Favorite non-music thing? Yeah, I guess I'd be remiss not to say Black women as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, they definitely, in so many ways, keep me going. Like, I mentioned my homies so much, but I definitely got to give a shout out to the, another part of the community as well. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, they take up a lot of my time as well. So, got to shout them out.
You mentioned that you're a history PhD. How did you decide to go into that direction? Like, it is life. I get that, but
it's a great question. It really is. I've been making hip hop since I was 14. I had no example back then for anything related to what I'm doing on campus now. None of my parents graduated college, not my grandparents. I'm the first person in my immediate family to get a degree. How did I get involved in it? I ask myself that question a lot, because my family, they'd be surprised. You know what I'm saying? They're surprised that I've taken it this far, and, supremely happy, that I have. I remember my grandfather, he told me in high school, I was like a junior in high school, and he was asking me, I think after I was boxing back then. So he asked me, it came up like, what do you want to be? Like, what are you going to do after high school? And I said, I want to be a barber. Huh. And it's funny I said it because I had never cut hair before that. You know what I'm saying? But that just show you, like, even as a junior in high school, how much I was not thinking about a career or a job, you know what I'm saying? And he told me, no, you know what I'm saying? He's like, no, you're too smart for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, like the way your mind is, like, you got to do something more with yourself, So I think I started out college trying to do business, and I dropped out. I stopped business track like after a semester. The next semester, I tried a single day in computer science. I went to my first computer science course, and that I knew I didn't want to do that. So then I got home and I was scrolling through the majors. This is at the University of Southern Indiana. And I was scrolling through the majors, and I found sociology. That kind of spoke to how I was just inquisitive about the world around me. So I did a sociology degree at the University of Southern Indiana. The decision even to go there came my senior year. As far as, that's the only school I applied to, was the one that was in my hometown. And then, after 4 years or whatever of USI, my mentor at USI, shout out to Dr. Rashawn, he was a graduate of the education department here. And he brought me with him to the campus and to show me things and introduce me to some of the people he learned under. And, this was the only grad school I applied to, and I got in. It's really, I don't want to be this cliche or just say just God, really just following the opportunities, as they were presented to me. And I guess just, belief that I could do it. I'm not sure exactly where that came from because I don't have many examples in my life of people doing this. So it was definitely tough for me, you know what I'm saying, coming here. And I think that's also what, kind of led to my like delayed kind of entrance to the rap scene and everything. Just because like, being away from my hometown, being in grad school, it was such a different setting for me. And, my whole lineage, I don't come from nothing like this as far as like what I'm doing on campus. It took me a while to get my feet under myself.
So from sociology to history.
No, first it was education.
Education.
Okay,
I got you. Yeah.
And then while I'm in the education department, I was in the PhD program, but after I got my master's in education, I knew I didn't want to stay there to get my PhD. I have a great mentor still who I learned under, in the history department that kind of took me under his wing. It took me a few tries. I had to apply a few times to get into the history department here, but I ended up getting in, and that's where I'm still at,
Do you feel that even if you didn't specifically have the direct example of someone going to college or to graduate school, like you at least had an example of people that in your life that did the things that they wanted to do and pursued their dreams in a way, or
No.
okay.
No. I mean, my grandparents, I was raised mainly by my grandparents, I lost my mother when I was 6 years old, and things was really hard on my father. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my grandparents, they were factory, they're retired now, but they worked in factories. They didn't do that because they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? That was tough ass labor for them. Being raised like half with them and half with my father, you know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely saw two sides of a coin, but I definitely got, as far as like the idea of just being resilient, putting your head down and doing what you got to do. Like, I get that from my grandparents, I think with that, you don't get a space to express emotions. I came here for grad school. I didn't know nothing about mental health. I didn't think I was capable of having anxiety. I thought anxiety is something that happened to weak people. You know what I'm saying? I thought depression is something that happened to weak people. And this is in my mid-20s. That's what I come from. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of upbringing I had. So being here and being faced with mental health challenges, and I say this because I know people going through the same thing, like putting your head down and just trying to do the work. When I looked up my first semester here, I had lost 30 pounds. I'm already a slender person. Through depression, through anxiety, I almost killed myself. My first semester here, as far as like looking at my body and seeing like just skin and bones, you know what I'm saying? And that's off of the stress. That's off of not even realizing what you're going through. You know what I'm saying? So I think, the long recovery from that is definitely a part of and who I am as a person, as an artist.
I always feel like I there's something, someone says something surprising to me, and I have to kind of mentally think back on what does that all kind of mean. But I do feel like your own like growth has kind of come through in your music, and there's a power in the words that you use and the way that you present them, and I really appreciate it. And I've kind of silently like thought about interviewing for you for a very long time, and it's just like it never seemed like it was a good time. And when I saw that you were putting out some more things, I was like, this is a good time to chat. Thank you so much for like inviting me into your studio, letting me take some space and chat with you and talk about your song Vacation off of the album Hotline and all of your projects. And it's just been a pleasure to finally meet you face to face and talk with you about your music. So thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate you, Sven. And this was definitely, a small step, but definitely a good step for me and my journey. You know what I'm saying? I hope anybody listening, it helps them do what they doing. I appreciate you opening the door on your end as well,
Thank you so much.
Cool. Yeah. Peace, everybody.
All right.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Sunny Ture. Thank you for listening to Champagne is Also a Band podcast, and we're here to remind you that great music is out there. Go find it where you live.
That's a wrap.
You almost have an NPR voice. It's so good.
Studio South Bigger on the inside.